Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on KwingsLetsPlays. How's everybody doing today? Special shoutouts to Capcom for providing a copy of this game for review, walkthrough, and live streaming purposes. And today we'll be continuing a story that took place in the past, but now it's in the present, or something along those lines. About Soseki-san, who got in trouble again, apparently, when he was in England, so that's going to be interesting. And just a reminder that your stream schedule has changed today. I have the beginnings of a baby migraine again, so I will be going to bed after the third stream tonight, which would be Mario and Luigi Now, which will be at 10 o'clock, and then Carlos's Ultimate stream will be around 8:30 today. So everything's kind of moving around. There is no Titans podcast tonight. That will be happening on Sunday. So, without further ado, let's continue the Memoirs of the Clouded Is that what it's called?
Of the Clouded Kokoro. Alright, well, yeah, like I said, we kind of went a little late on the Mario, darn it, Super Smash Bros. Stream, but also Luke has a migraine today. So we're moving stuff around. Thank you guys so much for playing with me in Smash Bros. So tomorrow, I don't really know what's gonna happen. I think I'm gonna be streaming something in the afternoon. But we do have a Ultimate member stream tonight around 8 p.m., 8:30, something like that. For Carlos, Ultimate stream is gonna be retro games. So that's gonna be really exciting. And great to see you guys in the chat. Hope you guys are all doing well. Great to see you, Goki, Cassie, OH. Hello, Billy. Great to see you, SE Spurs, JD, and Drago. Drago says, good evening, ladies and gents. Please grab your tickets while we wait for our conductors Kwing and K-Wife to refuel. Thanks, Drago, and Kiri, and Tom, and everyone's got their tickets, so awesome.
All right.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Dun dun. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodou. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey in England. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, well, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from its slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Uh-oh.
He's hungry.
What a delicious smell wafting from the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite. and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate.
Good thing he gets breakfast free. I must save him a lot of money.
Yeah, I suppose so. And Iris is a very good cook, so.
30th of August, 7:28 a.m. Sholm Suite.
Oh, Ryuno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. I made bacon.
Wow. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual, and it's called bacon.
Oh.
Before we eat, though, I have some news. Ah, not another word, Mr. Naruhodou. This should be a most abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation, repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, quite right. I see. Ah, so that's it. The truth is cleared to me as day. My facilities of observation have revealed it yet again. What? What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodou, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button on your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? No, but of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand? My hair always looks like this. It's been like this since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Harley pulled your button off?
Yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped! Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder, then, that in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me, that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhat of their whereabouts on the floor, I presume? Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Harley, Ryuno said that when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise. Oh boy. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
All right, then. Enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it grows cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try, too. My latest special blend.
Okay, then. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in the Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodou, won't you put us out of our misery? What's the surprise you have for us this fine morning? I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really?
Yes, that's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us about it over breakfast.
Oh, yes, what fun!
I love pre-morning breakfast things. Banter, yeah. Alright, so every day you have to present your armband. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, about this. Shh, not another word. Ah, yes, I see. This would be a collar for a breed of miniature canine with particularly long necks, and for winter use. Actually, it's the armband I always wear that symbolizes my role as a defense lawyer. Precisely, which leads us to one conclusion. Your arm is in fact a particularly long neck of a miniature canine. I'm starting to wish I'd never shown him this now. The man's barking mad. Okay, there we go. You always show your armband for unique conversations. Miss Susie's letter. This is a letter that arrived from Japan this morning by International Post.
Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful handwriting. I wish I could read it, but it's in Japanese.
And how is our judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's writing, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsumi appeared in a trial as a witness. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do! We helped the man! Twice! You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago? Ah, the mustache twitchy man, with his somewhat feline eyes and the moustache.
He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes. Well, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me, mostly. Although, I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news. So, what was the startling news penned by Miss Susie? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Holmes? Ah, yes, it was very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that the case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Wow. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susie asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsumi said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings. Oh. On Mr. Natsumi's return to Japan, Miss Susie's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsumi said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript, ready for publication, too. But then Hurley was there, all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Do you understand now something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susie was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Miss Susie's...
Repatriation?
No idea.
It's been 4 months since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Ah, yes, because her father had passed away. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that, though?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Dun 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 dun.
Don't.
Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Miss Susie's dad was hiding. Ah!
I like you.
Okay.
Harley, do you know what it's all about?
Ah, well, who can say? What? But you just said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of what the matter would be exclusive, I feel. Excessive. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later.
She's leaving. You know something, Sholmes. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I have a little theory that I want to, present to the chat.
The class.
I don't think John H. Wilson is really,
Dead?
No, he's dead. But I don't think he was Sherlock Holmes, Watson. I think that Susie's dad is really the Watson character.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Who?
Because you have to remember that Susie's dad was also in Japan, or also in Britain. So it's possible that he was the doctor that was the assistant of Mr. Sholmes. And that they knew John H. Wilson. Like, they were all kind of like a group, but...
What?
Yeah. I think, the way that both Mikotoba and Holmes are acting fishy, like, where they won't talk about each other, and also they won't talk about certain cases, I think that there's a bigger connection here. So maybe Iris's real father is Susie's dad.
That doesn't make any sense.
We'll see. It's just something I'm
That's weird.
thinking. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Suzeki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from ever being published. By all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last!
Iris, are they,
Sorry, my shoes.
The notes about the case. That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. My sister!
I don't know.
The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you remember, Bruno?
Absolutely, thank you, Iris.
You're welcome.
I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case, though, but perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
Alright, here we go. Time travel. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in the courtroom that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
Why not?
I guess we'll find out.
Interesting.
Very.
Very interesting.
It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snow pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. Hang on a second, he said he wasn't allowed to practice law? Then how in the world did he take, what's-her-name's case after that? He did the pickpocket. He represented her in court. If he wasn't allowed to be... I don't understand what's going on. I think they're having some continuity issues with themselves. Like, they wanted to tell a really interesting story how he got, like, his bar removed. But at the same time, they forgot that he represented, Gina, like, just a few months after. I'm just saying.
Flashback sound effects, that's right,
Yep.
OH.
Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident.
Ethan says her dad is definitely Watson. Susato's dad.
The
I guess
fog,
we'll see.
the fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but a cruel twist of fate. A visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Sozeki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. They don't really get along at all. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susie and I decided to represent Sozeki-san in court. And, after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. Oh? We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to the Barts at once. Barts?
I don't know.
Oh, really? So, Susie and I summoned a handsome and headed immediately to the hospital?
What's a handsome?
Is it like one of those brothers with long blonde hair? Oh, that's a Hanson.
I don't know what a handsome is. That's an adjective, not a noun.
That's weird.
It's not a subject.
Bop, dip, dop, dop, doo, dop.
So they went with the Hanson brothers to the court.
The Hanson brothers, yep. 21st of February, 5:30 a.m., St. Bart's Hospital Recovery Ward. There you are at last! Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, quite. I think not. Oh.
Oh!
You're late! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. And it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right. It's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time, by the way. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what felt like an eternity.
But it takes time to get here, dude.
In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by the telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness.
Okay.
You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here.
Oh, that's the lady that was stabbed.
Yep. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back, eh?
Her name is... yes. Here we are. Miss Green. And she's wearing a green coat.
Well, that's interesting.
She's like a Clue character that's wearing the color that is her name.
All right, let's examine her room. Got a portrait here. Look there, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Oh, yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
Oh my, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Okay, there's this weird statue. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess, I've never seen one so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess somebody wanted to draw her.
Oh, we can't look at the thing on the ground. Oh, there's a mouse!
Cute.
It is kind of cute.
The mouse is huge, though. I mean,
yeah,
like
that's a big mouse.
I feel like she looks really tiny on the bed.
This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
For the pigeons? Yes. This is a person, though. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. Do not feed. Do not feed. Well, it might be because she was stabbed. Whoops. That could be an indication. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
Oh, if you were a patient here, I feel like you'd need to take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
Huh? That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
I mean, you'd accidentally take it, that's what I meant. Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep too, Ryunosuke.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susie.
Are there, Ryunosuke? Are there?
Yes! Yes, there are.
You would eat the medicine in your sleep. That's weird. Why did she think you would do that?
I don't know, because...
The bag is like half the size as her.
Yeah, it is, it is. The bag is... Oh my gosh, yeah, her bag is huge. Alright, so we've
She
looked
looks
at this.
plump, but also tiny. It's kind of weird. It's like she's a...
Yep. Ah, this looks like the treatment notes from who's ever occupying the bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment. So, he or she is probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear. How worrying. Oh, that's what your line was.
What's worrying? Why hasn't they haven't been discharged the patient yet? That's the concern.
Yeah, if they're running around, they're probably fine.
There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look! I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in the reach of everyone like this, though.
Yes, you're right, Ryunosuke. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinets.
Is she saying you always try to eat stuff?
Huh.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry, Ryunosuke. I worry that you would break that lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susie.
Does it, Ryunosuke?
No.
Her bag. Oh, the mouse.
The mouse.
Eek! A mouse! Mr. Naruhodo, an enormous mouse!
Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking.
It
Okay.
eats lots of medicine.
It eats lots of medicine.
That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought here directly after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though.
Yay! I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things in for her.
Right, then let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No! Mr. Naruhodo! You must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings!
But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel.
Why are you so hungry, Naruhodo?
I don't know. Good morning. Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
I was just thinking if you did a Miss Piggy voice for this person, it
Oh no! Was it your knife that? Are you the man who? No, I don't want. No, no.
Okay.
no.
Oh no! Was it your knife? That are you the man who?
No. I'm a lawyer.
And I am Susato Mikitoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no! Was that your knife then? Are you the one? Oh no! I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. I'll try to get a better voice for her. Get her high-pitched voice. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give your best wishes. I mean, we wanted to come and give our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Oh, thank you. I am Olive Green. I'm an artist.
She's wearing green. Her name is... Okay.
Whoa, no, that's not right, is it? Oh wait, she's English. I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, that's not right, is it? No, I mean, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't at all. It's no wonder that I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that has anything to do with it, but, that's not related, actually. Wow.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to pull herself down.
That's how she got stabbed in the first place!
Yeah, maybe she should have...
Maybe not mention bending over for a while. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. Hi, I know we just met, but we're gonna bring up a painful memory for you. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement, what a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
I was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? How long have I been here?
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time, though.
But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes! As you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved that case.
Are you, yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never regained consciousness. I'm so selfish.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! We're all very relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. We really are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green? About yourself. Oh my gosh. So you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? That's pretty cool.
Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim anything like that. I'm a fledgling artist at best.
Fledgling artist, okay.
I mean, I'm a student of art, really. I'm at the Thorndike Academy. I am attending the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
Sounds like you're pretty good. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it. But I have a flat on Brixton Road that I don't deserve.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no! Is it interesting? I'm so sorry!
Brixton is home 10 stops away on an underground from here. And the Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes, like, at all? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less slabberous part of town by comparison, dwelt by in those inferior means, I mean, including the magnificent Mr. Moustache. Inferior means, I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. Ouch. It struck me as somewhat out of ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh dear me! Oh dear, forgive me!
If you don't mind, I am being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things, please.
Oh yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
You have been keeping up,
She didn't tell us anything about the incident.
sorry.
Just said, is there Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Narrow Fodder! Narrow Fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Oh, Mr. Narrow Fodder, good! This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutseg Meg. Mr. Natsumi sent a message to me?
But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on?
I don't know.
What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at a time like this in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh, it's addressed to me, though. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No! How could I have? You just took it! It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Oh no, murder!
Call a cab. Time is of the essence, my friends. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsumi's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
Well, it's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Moustache's lodgings. Wait, what?
I'll hail a fiastre at once.
I'd just say a cab.
I will hail a cab.
Okay. Good job, Susie.
I will hail whatever that is.
It was only just yesterday that Soseki-san was in court, and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive.
Dun dun dun.
Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
That's right, Candle in the Dark. Great to see you, Candle in the Dark. Ethan, Marius, Cassie, Big Nate, and Princess Emmy, and VG Shine. Hey, everyone. 21st of February, 7:18 a.m., Mr. Natsumi's Lodgings, ground floor.
Yep, and guys, make sure you like and share the video if you can. Really does help out a lot, as well as leaving a comment after said video is done. Oh my gosh!
Oh, who is this?
What on earth?
Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without a question. He's dead.
Student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Mr. Natsumi?
Why are you here?
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just come out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! You, not the horrible Hulakshoms! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you!
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? You can leave! Grah! Here we are then, already the busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Yes, pleasant, what is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Aha! I deduced, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't go touching anything, lad. Good morning to you too, sunshine. Oh my gosh. What in the world is going on? Let's talk to...
Please don't put Soseki-san on trial
I
again.
know! It's not... I mean, he's a key witness, but I don't think he's the culprit.
No, I don't think so.
What a terrible thing to have happened again. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident in the pavement outside. Oh, and then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, did you know the victim? Were you friends?
Yeah, they used to talk about literature together.
What's the matter with Soseki-san now?
It's going in a shop?
It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it!
What an extreme reaction.
He wasn't very nice to him.
You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? So he was a friend, but he was a terrible friend.
When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. I thought the inspector, through that inspector over there.
Oh, wait, so he's not on trial then.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, let's examine the flat while we're here.
I think he did...
Oi, hands off! You're gonna mess up my crime scene. No, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood this morning. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Alright, it sounds like we'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry up some favor. Okay. Can we talk to this guy? Oh wait, no, he's dead. Never mind.
Wow, Luke.
So Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss, as it happens, or just dead.
Wow. Mr. Shamspeare.
Yes, it was the landlord of old Mr. Garadeb on the other lodger, Mr. Natsumi, who found him. The fellow didn't rise at his unusual hour, so Garadeb got worried and kicked down the door. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Oh, well, you're right there. It was just a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Sozeki-san? The victim was pretty hard up, it seems, even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life, and a miserable end to it as well. So, what exactly does Mr. Natsumi still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation. You shouldn't have sent him away from the crime. Shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious, but I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the, cohabitor. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Oh dear. Mr. Natsumi appears to be under suspicion again.
Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Poor man. How unfortunate. Yeah, but there's nothing to prove that he did anything.
Anyway, I can say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fellow's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body.
Oh my gosh, you had to see if it's warm.
Can I inspect now? Nope. Up, Sholmes.
OH says if Sholmes points out that Soseki is a suspect again, so help me.
I know, right? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Aha! You need only to observe it now, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose, sir.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in the room but a mere 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
My goodness!
Oh no.
But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way, yes. At the present time, I've managed to draw 2 incontrivable conclusions. The first, that was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Ah!
Ah!
Mr. Natsumi, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. I forget I was here.
I don't understand.
And my second conclusion is that there was poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. No, nonsense!
Ah!
Alright, Mr. Natsumi, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please! Pretend I am not here! Invisible, infallible, and, insignificant! Impossible to ignore you!
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes! Spare us no detail!
But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
The chat says this is your favorite part of the game.
So, my dear fellows, are you delight and wonder? Let the curtain rise! For Herlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot.
And somebody else said this is one of the best side stories in the entire game. It's really fun.
Oh?
I'm excited. Done.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this room last night. From the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, only half a sizable bar of soap, meaningfully, undoubtedly. Why is the soap so purposely upon the dish, like the victim's last supper, in fact? Yes. Could it have been the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast.
He ate soap?
But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive indigestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. What?
I wouldn't eat wax or soap. Definitely I would eat wax before I'd eat soap, though.
Hi. Suicide or murder? The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die after? This, teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The clearful criminal would have absconded with his own cup of tea to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. No. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced upon open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone, along with this inferior soap from whence he wafted an inferior scent. And with that aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. It was cleansed because it's a bar of soap.
I think it would really hurt to eat soap. I've gotten soap in my mouth a few times and it's really hurt my throat.
I guarantee that soap used to be poisonous. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. I mean, there's all kinds of chemicals and stuff in the soap. It's very different than... Did you know soap before World War II was actually made with, like, oats and, like, different things? Instead of, like, now it's made with all types of chemicals. It was made with natural ingredients once. But
it's interesting.
During war times, they had to change the recipe because all the materials would have to be sent to our soldiers and things like that. So they would have to change how things were done. And they never went back to it because, well, it was cheaper to do it that way.
With chemicals.
With chemicals, yep. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identify just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think this man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one of destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite appetizing. Susie.
Oh, how extraordinary!
In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten soap? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut.
No.
No.
And did it, Mr. Sholmes?
As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous.
Yeah, it is.
It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. Oh my gosh.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh, what's that, Susie? Wow.
It's Mr. Natsume.
Ah!
I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Shom's deductions touched a nerve somehow.
No, nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yeah, Mr. Shom's observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it into an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out.
All right then.
Nope. All right then, let's see what we can do, Susie.
Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Shom's quite brilliant deductions and discreetly exchange them for something that makes more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Shom's meant to say in the first place.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise for Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Wait, we already did Act 1.
So we did Act 1. Oh, we're doing it again.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
We're correcting his Act 1.
Mm-hmm.
Poisoning from soap. That could be butter, though.
No, it's soap. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this room last night. Why is he smiling? Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Undoubtedly. Why is this soap so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course! The fork reveals the answer! Well, you can't deny that the fork implies that the man was eating something, or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks.
And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate.
But might there not be some other explanation, Ryunosuke? Some material that proves whether or not the man really ate the soap or not? Maybe he was set up to make it look like he had eaten the soap.
Yeah, it could be.
Because maybe he was poisoned with something else, because it seems weird that he would just... Why would he eat the soap? It's so weird. Well, the teacup had a thingy on it.
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. What is this? Look, there's some more soap here on the floor. Mr. Shamspeare must really have loved the stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at this soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How can it be?
I think that they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Okay. What else can we see? There appears to be some liquid on the table, but we can't really click that. Whoops. Whoopsies! I'm having a hard time moving. I mean, I guess we can... The only thing we can present is the soap on the... Oh, we can look at the fork. I suppose you'd eat soap with a fork, wouldn't you?
I don't think it's a question which implement you'd use. You shouldn't really eat soap, full stop.
But then why? Why does the man have a fork in his hand?
Oh dear, I understand your frustration, Mr. Naruhodo. Please don't take it out on me, though. The point is, if we decide the man used this fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Shom's deduction at all. We really ought to consider some other clues.
The teacup. Do you think he was drinking tea with his soap?
The cup is empty, so there's actually no way of knowing.
Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving soap in it so he could gurgle as much down as possible?
That's weird, Ryunosuke. Please remember that he might not actually have been the soap lover that he's been made out to be by Mr. Sholmes. I mean, I think he was eating something else, and then, like, I think that somebody put the soap there. I don't know. I think he was eating something else with tea. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna suggest a teacup.
Take that!
Oops. Here we have an empty teacup within arm's reach of the victim. Clearly, if poison was the cause of death, the possibility that it was administered in this drink can't be overlooked. My dear fellow, possibilities are endless. The question we are currently pondering is whether or not this vicious-looking victim ate the soap. Ah. Until we have established that, I suggest you keep your possibilities to yourself. Ha! It looks like I was getting ahead of myself. Oh.
I think you should submit the soap on the floor, because it shows that it would perfectly go into the other soap, which shows that none of it was eaten. It was just cut.
Okay. Might not be one of the most appropriate term to describe a dead man, Mr. Sholmes. Alright, we'll check the soap on the floor. Some soap on a plate and fork in hand. Even so, surely you wouldn't try to eat soap no matter how hungry you were.
That's what we must determine. Was the victim eating soap when he died or not? Until we establish that with some certainty, we shan't make any progress.
Talk about slippery problems. Oh. Wah, wah, wah.
Let's solve this case nice and clean.
Okay.
Let's make sure we scrub through the apartment for any evidence.
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all.
That's right.
But it's obvious, really, for no depth of hunger could drive a man attempt to eat a bar of soap, except for that one time that I did it. Even as I, unquenched thirst for particular knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question on how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of this plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then.
Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If the soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course! Food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
Tea.
So we got that he wasn't eating the soap. Now we have to figure out what he was, but why would he eat tea with a fork?
There's a teacup. Yes, a Western vessel for serving infusions of dried tea leaves.
It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's a significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly.
Take that!
There we go.
Kogi says, I just want to know why he's dressed like that.
He was an actor.
Theater person.
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted this teacup. Indeed, cups have been vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room, which leads us to an immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. All right.
Natsumi was winking a lot, like when we said there's no food here. I feel like Natsumi came by after the guy died and ate stuff. I think he was so hungry that even though the guy was dead, he like ate stuff.
Yep. The cause of death identified as we proceed to Act 2, where we wander the next question. Ponder. Was this suicide or murder? Uh-oh. The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel of infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far. Yes. Whoops.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamster was having a drink of tea. There could be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me
is that Mr. Natsumi's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues.
Okay. Scene of the crime for more clues. Can we examine the body at all? There's another teacup! He is.
Oh my
there,
gosh.
there are 2 cups. There were 2 people in the room. Oh
There were
no.
2 different people.
Oh no. It's another Western vessel of infused.
It's a teacup! And it too is empty.
Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, we can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shamspear was actually drinking. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it.
Yes, I know exactly how you feel.
Take that!
Poor Natsumi. Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Hi. Yes, there were 2 teacups in the room all along. Ah! In other words, this was a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in the room last night taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable! To draw a conclusion on such a meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in the room last night at the victim's death?
Oh no.
Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. What? I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now.
I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap.
But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not. Time to look around again.
It's empty.
Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it?
It makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at this time.
Bother, Susie's quip in response was clever than my original riddle.
Ha ha! I'm quipping.
The first glance, it seems that only things in this room are makeshift stage and costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read The Picture of Monsieur Lecole, Contemporary Yearnings, and A Meal for Gabaro.
Huh. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before.
It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsumi purchased the other day.
What?
Yes.
Oh man, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed, Sozeki-san had just been to a bookshop and brought them. That's right. Ah.
And now those 3 titles are here, in the room of this victim.
Yet Mr. Natsumi claims he's never been here before. Uh-oh. What does this mean, do you think?
I really don't know how to make of it.
Alright, well.
Natsumi, that's seeming really sus.
Take that!
Uh-oh. I mean, he could have lent him the books.
Yeah, that's true.
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in the room. It's the links to the truth. Ah! Mr. Natsumi, you purchased these books 4 days ago at the second-hand bookshop. That's the coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No! Never! Non-negotiable! If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have brought these 3 books to the victim's room. Why are we doing all these weird poses? That's how he walks?
I don't know.
Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey.
Well, this happened the next day.
In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And at the same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... Yes? Was you, Mr. Suzuki Natsumi! How
does his teeth do that?
Oh! Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Again. Conclusion.
I feel sad.
Sozeki Natsumi at the scene. Solved.
Yeah, but who poisoned him?
And now he's going to be arrested again. Elementary. Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsumi, it would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yes? Door! Key! Locked! Entry, exit, entirely impossible! He's so flustered he's even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunities, I'm sure. But. Misery me! Sorry, sir. You've got all your chance to give your side of the story later.
Oh my gosh.
Now we know why he hates Sholmes. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
Wow.
You horrible Herlock Sholmes! He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on then! No dilly-dallying. Outside there's a carriage waiting. Naruhodo Esquire! I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me, please! Please, please, please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing! Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat! Please give him breakfast for me!
Oh, this is heartbreaking.
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Sozeki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective once again. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. Oh, yeah! Because he was going to say he was poisoned by soap. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Yes, that's right. And of course.
What is it, Susie?
Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garrideb, who discovered Mr. Shamsphere.
Ah, Mr. John Garrideb, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual.
Right, we must remember to go talk to him later then. But first, investigation time.
How do they know that maybe there was someone else having tea with him? Because it doesn't look like he had tea with him. I think Soseki-san found him like this.
Maybe. Someone was drinking with him.
I don't think it was Soseki. There's not much on the shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and a bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yeah, not much we could use, are they? What's the matter, Susie?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all.
Prosecutor Lord Van Zeeks?
Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste that he should donate to the needy, maybe.
You can suggest it next time we meet.
Oh yeah, wine glasses. I mean, you could really donate to people. You're gonna be smashing it every second.
Yeah, exactly.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespearean performances?
Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
Huh?
Then you could practice your art every single day.
I'll think about it if you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
This I have to see. They're so cute together.
Wait, she's gonna wear a beard so he can feel like it's the judges there?
Yeah.
Weird.
And here we have another really large machine. This looks like a meteor of some kind.
Yep. Yes, Soseki has been arrested again, and it is Shom's fault. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins.
Ah, I see. Yes, now as you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it could take a coin. So you mean if we put a coin in here...
That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating.
So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold.
Yes, I guess so. Or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Well, I mean,
oh, yeah,
you,
I know, right?
you could go to sleep with some heat on. You could put the coin on, go to sleep, and then wake up cold.
Yeah, you could put it on for like an hour and then you could just like...
No, it's 2 hour increments, they said.
So you could just fall asleep and then you'd have 6 hours of freezing cold.
Yep. Alright, let's check the mannequins.
You could just wrap yourself in blankets.
Well, I mean, you probably don't have a lot of blankets, though. Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, though it's grim, shady going-ons here.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
Oh, I think you'd be more than suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like, a Ryunosuke.
With a comb-edge top knot? Very Japanese man wishes he could have a chone made, I don't know.
Yes! Oh, you look wonderful with one of those top knots. And you already have a sword, so...
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London like that and my sword? Oh my gosh.
They would think you're attacking London.
So she thinks he would look very... Basically, I'd have to look like the prosecutor from Japan, though.
Chonmaj? I don't know
I don't know. I know what it is, but I don't know how to say it well. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? it must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. It goes back to my study of samurais. It's just I'm not good at pronouncing, you know.
Yeah, that
words.
makes sense.
Yep.
Ah, gas lights! A gas stove! London really is a city of gas!
Speaking of samurais, Ghost of Tsushima came out again, I believe. But I don't know if I'm going to have time to look at the game again. It's been quite a while.
Kiri enjoys that Ryunosuke with a top knot, lol.
Yeah. But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they?
Christina says, I feel sorry for the guy who's arrested again.
I know.
Definitely, Christina.
Yep.
Oh, yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Okay, so they're talking about stuff, examining things.
Examine.
Oh, there's a hat there. Oh, the hat doesn't matter. Never mind.
Nobody cares about
Nobody cares about the hat, yeah. Oh, what's this?
What's this?
It looks like a part of an envelope. I think...
Yes, I think you may be right, Ryunosuke. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter. The rest of the envelope, in fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
And yet, here we have the torn off end of the envelope. It just strikes me as unusual.
I agree. We'd better take this just in case. You took evidence! Oh my gosh!
Oops.
Well, that'll be important later on. Why? Why did you do that? Oh, no. That's not good. Alright.
Okay, Shanna says, look at the floor, but I think we got it. On the floor. We got
His
the
hat,
letter.
his hat is right there. We can examine the body. Anything else? The body itself.
Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was very painful death? Being poisoned as he was, Ryunosuke?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder... Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry?
I made sure I had a reference at that ready for just such an occasion as this, but actually... This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed the British Way. I'll just reread it now. One moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there?
Yeah, her book is very big. So she's gonna read how to pray for people in Britain versus Japan. Ah! One of the teacups that Mr. Shamsphere and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo! There's bitter poison inside!
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty anyway.
Her tiny little fists.
She has tiny fists.
That's true! So one was Mr. Shamspere's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsumi was drinking from.
But Suzaki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later? Yoo-hoo!
Let's take evidence from the crime scene!
Oh my gosh!
Great job, Ryunosuke!
You stole the cups!
They won't need this.
Oh my gosh!
They won't need this later.
Oh, wow.
It looks like a castle in the background, but it's really poorly made.
Yeah.
As we've seen from outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain, huh? I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property? It's extraordinary. Now they make people pay for how many televisions they have in their house. According to my friend Larry.
Yeah, they do that in Europe.
TV tax.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid the unaffordable tax. Oh!
Huh? What is it, Miss Susie?
If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of the things just here. Was it Mr. Shamsphere who did it? I wonder, being the lodger renting this room. Ah!
Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge, and there's something on it.
What? Outside? More soap? Alright, let's get a closer look. Whoop.
Oh, brr, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
It did snow all last night, so it would be cold. But more importantly, what is on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps?
It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all.
Oh dear. I suppose we could, though.
You're terrible!
Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
Huh?
Do you see in the middle here? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but...
Some sort of fancy design, I suppose, only in Great Britain.
It looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshack old room? The bar of soap was taken from the crime scene and put into the court record.
We can do that because it's our game.
Alright, so we examined everything now. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Oh,
Nani?
shoot!
Oh, it's that guy.
Ah, Inspector Gregson, back so soon? After I threw the little Japanese fellow in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be quoted off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in his cell so soon.
I'm sure... Ah! Ah! Ah!
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, do you know what he was doing?
Sleeping!
He was probably doing Shakespeare where you had to do that, like, you had to take that one poison like they did for that Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. I'm sure we should probably go and...
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Kyo! Oh! What?
Out of brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no one, no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed, oh happy day! Walking Dead!
Oh my gosh, he's fell again. Was he alive or what happened to him?
What is going on? The fella isn't dead at all! And what was that nonsense he was saying, though?
I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from the Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare? So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, wherever that now was.
Child Darkness says, well, that's going to be a nightmare for me at night. Huh?
I mean, the fact that he rose the way he did was just freaky.
It was so creepy.
Yep, Briar Road.
Whatever do you think will happen now?
Good question. I guess Suzeki-san will be, like, released. What a strange situation for Natsumi, arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place, Ryunosuke. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspear did consume poison, as we deduced, but it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings.
Weird. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me, could we have a word, please? Ah!
He's gonna run away.
He just ran off.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
I do too, but I don't remember. Okay. With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows that a property had. In order to pay less taxes, the poorer members of society filled up many of their windows.
But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened again, surely.
Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have that kind of work done.
Yeah, that is a sad state of affairs.
Especially for people like poor Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose that's the price you pay for living in a very cheap accommodation.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that, Ryunosuke. There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garrett residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact.
That one seems very warped, though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more challenging to ride, do you think?
No, I'm afraid that may be the result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly affected.
Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on the bicycle, I think.
Oh dear, I fear you may be right.
Wow, guys.
You guys are so mean to Natsume.
Wow, poor Natsume. Alright.
So mean.
I know, right? Garrett household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in the prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's a bit of a slant.
It does rather look as though it would collapse in even the smallest earthquake, doesn't it?
It isn't supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san has such a hunched back. You do? Is there anything out in the ordinary outside? Doesn't look like it. Oh, click on this. London's blanketed in a fog again today, and the sky is covered in cloud. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built.
Ah, the Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition. That's to open in 6 months' time.
That'll probably be a case. Everyone's talking about the Great Exhibition of London at the moment, it seems.
Well, it's to be the largest event in its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. I can't wait for it for myself.
Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry?
The last great exhibition was held in London, had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. And this time the British are determined to make it an even bigger success, to outdo the Paris exposition.
I see. That's an incredible number of people. And with so many people expected to attend, we could easily be able to slip in unnoticed.
There's always the honest approach of buying tickets at the main entrance, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh.
Or we could slip in.
We could slip in. Hey. Well, I mean, we do steal from crime scenes. I don't think it would be... the snowman.
Yeah.
Why has somebody built the snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think?
That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body.
Really? but it already has a perfectly good body.
Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this snowman is a foreigner.
And now we're looking at him. He's strange poor man. I know how he feels.
If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: a head, torso, and legs.
Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much, Susie?
No, I think she's just right.
William Robbins. Is there anything else to click on? Nope. Okay, now where to? I guess we can go talk to Sozeki-san at the, tell him the guy's not dead.
What about the bar of soap? Did we click on it?
We already examined everything, see?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Yep.
I guess we're ready to go.
Let's move on. Whoops. Move on.
So will we get to the court case today, or just
No.
examine it?
No. We're gonna,
Between this stream and the other one, I'm gonna get some coffee and some more soup.
Alright.
What should we examine?
Well, let's go back to our consulting place. The 21st of February, Naruhodo's Legal
You
Consultancy.
said I'm supposed to put my feet up there.
No, because it... Perhaps we should put this spade away somewhere.
That's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
No! Spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel.
Oh my gosh. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Humph! You're so right, Naruhodo-san. We mustn't quarrel over such trifles.
Only, on reflection then, I think I'll leave the spade where it is.
Yes, I think that's for the best. We may need a shovel when we're working in the garden.
Okay.
I don't understand.
So this is before... Oh, they don't have an office yet. This is just
Oh,
a,
wow. So this is back in time.
Yeah, this is back in time.
They're probably sleeping on the floor.
Well, she's sleeping in there.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah.
Naruhodo is just crashing in a blanket.
I heard that there's another room behind that door.
Yes, it's my bedroom, Naruhodo-san, as you well know.
Shall I help you unpack your things?
That's very kind, but no, thank you.
Your luggage looked very heavy, though. Are you sure I can't help you move it?
That's very kind, but really, no thank you. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know.
The only secret I have is a 5-yen banknote hidden on the side of my Durham doll.
Okay. I don't know what that means. Naruhodo.
These tanks are for keeping sea creatures. They're called aquariums, and they are all the rage in London at one time, apparently.
Oh wow, Luke, they do look cool.
Yeah.
Yes, the English are so clever, coming up with the idea of having ocean life on display inside a home.
And it means you always have an emergency midnight feast on hand, too.
I'm not sure that's really the idea, Naruhodo.
Aww.
Why would you eat your pet fish?
You get hungry.
Oh, Naruhodo, that's a bad idea. Oh my gosh, I saw I don't know what it was, but like, I saw this post on social media where I think it was somebody from Japan, basically like, they had a prized fish that was worth thousands of dollars in an aquarium.
Somebody ate it?
And his grandma was staying at home at the time, and she was super hungry. She literally took it out of the fish tank, filleted it, and cooked it. And like she cooked it for him for dinner.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, thanks.
Okay.
Soseki-san is so terribly unlucky, isn't he?
You can say that again. Suspected of 2 different murders in 2 days? I've never known anybody to be so badly in the wrong place at the wrong time so many times.
I have. And I'm looking at him right now.
What? You know, I hadn't really considered it much before, but I think you might be right. I've been quite unlucky in that respect, haven't I? Am I cursed?
Oh no, Naruhodo-san. I'm sure you're overthinking this.
I don't know about that. Alright, let's go see Susie. Or not Susie, Iris.
That was random, sis Tim.
That's
Yeah,
super random.
you can actually see it on social media. He took a picture of it and was like, this is the most expensive meal I've ever eaten. I guess grandmas are like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
You can't really rein in grandmas. They kind of do their own thing.
Yep.
That kind of sounds like something your grandma would do on accident.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because she really likes to cook fish.
We had a fish tank at Grandma's house. The fish died, but it wasn't cooked.
Oh, she didn't cook them? Okay.
She just, over time, she forgot to feed it. Like, she thought she would feed it, and then, you have to go play Switch controllers, honey. This one's dead. Sweetie. And the one that we charged. Actually, swap here. Yep, perfect. Little interlude, ladies and gentlemen. The controller has died. Whoopsies. Da 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 da. Do not eat fish. That is from aquariums. No, she didn't eat the fish. It was just like she forgot to feed it, or she really thought she fed it. What happened is my grandma's mind was.
Oops, I bumped the mic.
Yeah, I know.
Should we check it?
No, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're almost done with the stream anyway. This enormous machine takes up an entire desk, doesn't it? It's really very imposing. Oh, there he is.
Oh, Halley's great analytical. Yes, it can analyze anything at all, you know.
But I've never seen anyone actually use it.
Well, it's his invention, so I know how to open it.
No, you don't know how to operate it.
Sorry, I don't know how to operate it.
Reading comprehension skills, Amber. Why don't you get to analyze its own operation then?
I will destroy you with my eyes!
Okay.
I'm burning a hole in you with my eyes.
Oh, Bruno, you're research shop today, aren't you?
I suppose so. Alright, what else can we
We need
do?
an autopsy and a trial for the case of the dead controller.
Yeah.
That's right, Candle.
There's all sorts of these books on the shelves. Chemistry apparatus, papers, and a lot of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at one moment.
It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes.
I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though.
It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray.
I really don't get it. Japanese
She
humor.
really likes making fun of you all the time.
She's a little savage. This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A Sada something?
Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius.
Strata what?
Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo?
Stradivigor?
No. Are you even trying at this point?
We'll come back to this another time, I think. I think that's good.
It's an Italian name.
I know I can say Stradivarius.
I know. Ryunosuke can't.
Ryunosuke can't because he's Japanese.
It's hard for him to say.
Right, because it's not a word that's accustomed to his language. That's all. Or something that he'd be learning in British because it's not from Britain.
Yeah, it's not actually a British
It's another
word.
country, exactly. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in this country. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotetsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting.
Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you now? You would suffer terrible burns, you know that?
Huh? I worry sometimes about how Susie sees me.
Why is she always telling you not to do things that are obvious that you wouldn't do?
She's just watching out for him. It's curious how this enormous metal chest is being used as a coffee table. And even more curious to think that Iris's father's notes about Mr. Sholmes' cases are all inside of it.
You mustn't look in there, Bruno. Those notes are a secret between Daddy and me.
And Mr. Sholmes isn't somehow in on the secret?
Hurley tends to forget, you see. As soon as he solved the case, in fact. Once, when he read one of my manuscripts, he had a terrible argument about it. Never have I solved such a case, he said. He was absolutely adamant. Sometimes I wonder if he's from another planet. Don't you?
I do wonder if he's from another planet, that's for sure.
Yeah. Look at these mementos of Sholmes' past cases. You know, Miss Susie's eyes will sparkle every time she lays eyes on them.
But yours don't, do they, Bruno?
Well, I've read The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes now, by order of Miss Susie, of course. But the trouble is, well, having seen the real thing in action, somehow the stories don't quite ring true for me. Ooh.
Well, he does solve the cases in the end.
I suppose so. Perhaps there's more to the great detective than meets the eye.
Christina says, you mean you like to pick on Luke, Amber? Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes she does.
I do.
It always strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged this tea set is.
It's my favorite one. In fact, I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Wait there, I'll fetch the special blend that I prepared for today.
Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? You look so happy at the prospect of it.
And after you've drunk it, I will collect some experimental data, if that's all right.
Just what is she about to make me drink? All right. Chalkboard. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? So, what's on the blackboard today? Buck up, Ryuno. What is this?
Oh, I'm just playing around with ideas for the title of the next month's installment. Another idea I had was the barrel coronet. I'm really torn about which one to use. Which one do you think, Ryuno?
Anything but buck up, Ryuno, obviously.
I suppose you're right. I'll tell you what. I'll surprise you with it. You'll have to wait until next month and see.
Oh, so many sleepless nights. Got some medicine up here. That's a charming little white shelf and full of charming little bottles, too.
Oh, yes. I don't touch any of those, though.
Don't touch.
Oh, but please don't touch any of those, Ryuno. They might explode.
Ah, a charming shelf full of charming bottles full of charming ingredients that explode!
You know, Harley mistakenly drank one of them one time. Actually, it was the other day.
Nani? How?
I think he was lucky, though. He hasn't even exploded yet. Chemistry can be very hazardous occupation.
It's living with Mr. Sholmes that's a hazardous occupation, if you ask me.
Why would he drink a chemical sitting in, like, a bottle?
What?
She has all these little bottles of weird chemicals, and he just picks one up and drinks it. Like, oh, what's this?
It's a little weird.
That's why you should always know what kind of liquid you're drinking before you put it in your mouth.
Oh my gosh.
Like, look for labels on things.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter.
To think that every single one of the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought.
I actually had to go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow and made Iris pretty angry.
Mr. Naruhodo!
Ah!
You're ruining my dreamy thoughts right now. Please do not do that again.
No, now I've made Susie angry as well. Alright. And Iris herself. Iris! That's incredible concentration, that is.
I find it quite remarkable how she can focus on so many different things at once.
Perhaps I should try drinking more herbal tea?
The blend, that from the right, would be good for you, Ryuno.
Oh, thank you, Iris. This girl is destined for great things, I'm sure. Look at, she has like a little booster seat too. That is so cute.
It is cute.
Because she can't reach the typewriter, and so she gets a little booster seat.
Kawaii.
It's also amazing that she writes all those stories. It's so cool. I really like this game. I don't know if it's my favorite Ace Attorney or not, though. But they haven't made a new Ace Attorney in a while, so they are due for one. It's been like 3 or 4 years since the last one. Actually, it might even be 4 years. All right. We were in the room, Mr. Garadeb's room, prison. I think this is a good place to stop for today, because it looks like we have more investigating to do next time. So, but that was really freaky with the corpse coming back to life. That was bizarre.
Yeah,
it was.
It looked like he was Night of the Walking Dead because
yeah.
It looked like a zombie because he slowly started to get up, and I was like, oh my
gosh, yeah, it was pretty creepy. So we'll do more tomorrow.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys and gals, that is going to complete today's episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles number 2 Resolve, as we are on case number 2, which is, it's in the title. Thanks so much for watching. An Ultimate Select stream is happening around 8 o'clock, like probably 8:15, and it will be on, let's see, River City Ransom for our friend and Ultimate member Carlos. And then after that will be your Mario and Luigi stream. As I said before, there is no Titans podcast tonight because I will be turning in early so I can get up early and record with Amber, as well as try to nip this headache before it gets excruciating. If I stay up all night tonight, I'm going to be out of action for days, so I'm going to have to go to sleep after whenever the Mario and Luigi stream ends. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks again, Capcom, for providing a copy, and remember to like and share this video, as well as comment in the comment section telling us what you thought about today's episode, if you had a funny moment, if you had something that would work as a clip for our YouTube short series, let us know that. Or if you have funny moments in general for Ace Attorney that you want to see a highlight reel of, like an actual, 10-minute highlight series, let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll do our best to make that happen. All right, guys.
Awesome.
God bless and happy gaming. It's time for soup, and see you later. Bye.
See ya. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys like in an hour.
No.
What?
Like,
half an hour?
half hour.
See you guys in a half an hour.